Here we are at Hobby Lobby, and it's almost Christmas, so you got Green Tree Rock, and that perfectly fits a 33 1/3 LP, $8.99. That's at Hobby Lobby. So this is nice too. So your kid or your husband, or you have an old LP you don't have the jacket for, there you go. Pink Floyd. This would really look good with a kick-ass label LP. It's got a little hub there that fits it perfectly. You can also do this one. It's a simple matte black frame, high fidelity, $7.49 on that one. And then here's your floating frame, which allows you to have that LP come out there. And then here's one with a little bit thinner frame. And here's one where you do the LP on the bottom and the jacket up top. So, Merry Christmas, right? Oh, yo, did I say 45s? So there you go. What's that for? Oh, that's for CDs. Okay, but this is cool too. I've showed this before. Your 45 goes right there. Once again, you got the little hub there. And I don't know what the 5x5 is for. That's for a CD. There you go. All right, they do have a rock and roll aisle. And they used to have the end-to-end albums, which I bought years ago. You can still get the cassette. So they should do an 8-track one. There you go. Lo and behold, they do have an album one. So sort of end to end, a little bit different. $26.99. That would be a good gift for an audiophile right there. And you can see all the names of the albums. It's all pretty done, pretty clear photography wise. So you're looking for that gift, go to Hobby Lobby for your favorite audiophile. LPs, CDs, 45s, they got you covered. All right, it's Christmas time, right? And I've taken some 45 sleeves and custom framed them here. And I'll show you some of these right there, the Giant Cougar. I left a little bit of a white border around these just because I think it looks cooler and you can get really wrapped up in it and do it perfectly. We got the Knack there, we got Van Halen, some of the more colorful ones. These are custom little Nielsen frames, and here's a bigger version on an LP. Now a lot of times you can find these there you go, there's prints. I got some more of the 45s up there, and you see how the little white border around the 45 sleeve, and that means that's going to be custom, right? So you can find a frame shop that'll cut these. I don't know if they're still in business. I did these back in the 90s. Can you see that right there? Nielsen is the name of the frame company. And they're pretty easy to put together. They have little springs that fit in behind and press the record cover. And a lot of these aren't even record covers. They're just little cards that mimic the record cover that I found somewhere along the way. There's a lot of artwork that's being done. If your husband's a record fan, this is all laser cut. John gave me that as a gift. So you got cool stuff like that. And then that stuff at Hobby Lobby that I showed you. Here's one back here. You gotta hang this in a little bit. That was the one that is built for 45s. So that's pretty cool right there. You got VJ Records, Goodnight Sweetheart. Spaniels out of Gary, Indiana. Sort of started the whole thing for the VJ. And that's basically ready to frame. So I think these were what, $7.99, $8.99 at Hobby Lobby, ready to roll. And you know, any variation thereof. You can see I got some more up here. There's NXS, Donovan, Billy Joel. I'll tell you what, the more colorful, iconic ones make great framed pieces. So get creative with it. Here's one I did, like a custom made one with the 4 main Motown labels. So you got Gordy, Motown, Soul, and let's zero in on those. So there you go. I just overlapped them, gave them a good cleaning. I think I knew these were never going to be played again, so I might even put like Armor All on them just to get the black to shine. And but that's custom framing, which means you'd have to have these cut to fit. On those, I laid them on black velvet, but most of the time I just did whiteboard and trimmed to fit. Another gift, and that's almost like a sculpture, but it's actually an acting record player. so you could get your kid or your husband something like that. I mean, I don't think it's a serious audiophile item, but I think it stands on its own as a sculpture. It does play. I told you I had one of the LPs, and there's mine right there. And Hobby Lobby sells these, but their version now, it's cropped, so it ends right there. So it's a little thinner, more streamlined. You got Gary Clark, Chuck Berry, and pretty good on the photography. It's really clear. And we showed you this one in the Hobby Lobby store the other day. There's your cassette version. I'm waiting for the 8-track. The CD, I got the real thing, right? I don't need the version. There's a nice little streamline vault record holder. I don't like the record holders that say now playing. That's just me, because you sort of know that it's now playing. You know, it should be understated. Let the artwork speak for itself. Another little gift you could probably get, Jack White's Third Man Record website for your husband and your kid. See some more of the 45 covers that I framed. And then the Stones one there, I just did it with the record above, sort of floating, and the jacket below. And then you can see these are just little decorations. And there's one with Eddie Cochran, Great Hits, Rolling Stones up above, Elvis Costello 45s there, and 33 1/3 there. Now there's a little tiny wooden one. I wasn't too crazy about it, but it works. It's very nondescript, low profile. I think I got that on Amazon. I don't like, it's not quite heavy enough for me, but it works for a small space. Once again, Christmas gifts for your husband, son, audiophile. Here's a metal one, just sort of a bare bones. I sort of like these. These are like just industrial bent metal. It does have a little padding on the bottom, a little cobweb there, but it does the trick, right? Now playing. We're talking Christmas gifts. And here's the one that actually says now spinning. Like I said, I'm not crazy about it. I mean, functionally it's fine, but if you're spinning it, you sort of know it because you're hearing, you know. I think it's a little corny. You see a lot of them on people's website, Facebook page, whatever. But it's another option. And last but not least, I picked up this book not too long ago. I think it was a gift from Kev. Booze and Vinyl, and there you go. I first ran into this book in the lobby of a Moxie hotel in Seattle. And I thought, that's a great book to have. Next thing you know, my buddy Kev's giving it to me for Christmas. So it's a great coffee table book for your vinyl room. And you don't even have to drink to just love the idea that this couple, Andre and Tanaya Darlington, came up pairing different albums with different drinks, and how to host a listening party. The Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers, and there you go, how to prepare the scene, what to drink during Bohemian Rhapsody, A Night at the Opera, Lust for Life by Iggy Pop. Very well colored, and Guns N' Roses, Appetite. You know, what you want a kamikaze with that, right? And here's chapter 2's on dance, Talking Heads, just some great pictures in here. Lauryn Hill, getting into the 90s, Elvis's Christmas album, Hotel California by the Beatles. This is a great book. I mean, even just to look through the book, you don't even have to listen to the music. Vampire Weekend, you get a little bit of everybody in there. Look at that. Getting ready for cocktail hour. Hot Buttered Soul by Isaac Hayes. So they got all the genres. They got soul, they got some R&B, they got some rock and roll, and a little bit of everything. So, bar merchandise. And there they are. Andre and Tanaya. Good book, you guys. Pick that one up. And you can probably get that anywhere. Probably Amazon. Imagine that. So there you go. Those are my top 5 Christmas gifts. You got the picture frames. You got the record holders. You've got the album frames. And you got booze and vinyl. All right, here's an assortment of things that you can get for your audiophile. These are pretty common here, these little standard brushes, and that just takes the lint off your album while it rotates. Pretty common. I think I got 2 of the same wood handle, and they actually work pretty good, and you just sort of use them on a sweeping effect. But then you get these little different ones that are, like this one's pretty wild. It's got a, let me just show it to you. It's got a top little, and you don't think you'll use one of these until you start using one of these. It gets that little annoying piece of lint off of your needle. And when you see that build up, you just reach under there and get it right out. So that works really good. This is the nice compact container for that. Showed you the lint brush portion of it. And lo and behold, once you figure out how this thing fits in there, it does have a lid to it. There's your lint brush. So it's all in one. So that's sort of cool. And like I said, if you're into compact, something you want, you can put it in a drawer, that's even better. So along the same line here, this one's called Caillou, and basically got that nice gold tone. You know, if someone's into unique styling, and it's got like a little copper tone to it, and you rotate it, and then there's your lint brush. Now functionally, I think actually these work better, but you know, this is a little bit more fine, a little bit more crafted, and if you got a guy that likes a little bit more classier look, and it comes with another one of these little, I call them needle dust removers. So that's what it is. This is like a really fine, compact horsehair, and you just reach underneath that needle and pull that little stubborn little, and that's made by Caillou. So there you go. These are always annoying. They come with record players. They're plastic. Here's another version of it. They call them spindles or spiders. But how about this Crosley one? I can't really, that's solid metal. And it's nice because it's biased on the edge here on a 45, but it just sits down on your turntable nice and heavy. And that's made by Crosley. You've seen their record players. I think I paid 13 bucks for it, but I think maybe I found it on sale, but I like it. It's heavy. So there you go. Little stuff like that can get your audiophile very excited. This is going to sound obvious, but how often are you entertaining and, oh, you got this new album that you haven't played yet, and you want to open it up, but your thumbnail's not long enough. So yeah, have this in a drawer. Just don't, make sure you don't go in too deep so you scratch your album, but just to slit that vinyl and open up that album. That's another good gift you can get. And you can get real fancy with that. You know, you want to get silver. Here's some more of the cheaper little lint removers. Big Fudge is one of the companies that makes those. And there's Big Fudge's sort of lint remover, the big brush, the old 70s style. Although I prefer the older 70s style, and they still make them. Some of these are antique though. If I find these, I pick them up. They're usually someone's giving them away. So those are some other gifts. How about a Third Man record lapel pin? Now that's very obscure, and you would be definitely in the know if you had this on and you went to a Jack White or Third Man record release party. You would be in the club right there if you had that on your lapel. And totally nonchalant, but makes a nice little shiny little statement if you want to be cool and understated. And last but not least, you got to clean those records, keep them clean, right? So I've been using this stuff here, and I've showed it before, Laser Media. I like this formula, the XNC-8XL extra strength. And then it comes with a cleaning cloth. Every time I get a new bottle, I get a new cloth. So I have an old cloth that I use for really nasty records, and I have a current cloth. And then this is about to be retired and become the old cloth. And then my old cloth I use up in the kitchen to clean my cabinets, countertops, I mean. And it works pretty darn good. So those are some extra little stocking stuffers if you need some extra gift ideas. All this stuff you can probably get on Amazon, so just look it up. But sometimes it's, buying records, that isn't always the best thing for an audiophile because we've all got the records, right? So buy them the accessories and you can't go wrong. All right, we are out digging records this week, and pickings were slim, but I'll tell you what, I found some beat up records, some placeholders. So we're going to check these out. Here we got Jerry Rafferty. And wasn't he the lead singer of Steelers Wheel? Now that cover right there, I would give it a good plus on the rating, but very colorful, cool looking cover. And the two songs, Baker Street and Right Down the Line, number 2 and number 4. So I can't even tell you if I know any of the other songs, but I'm going to listen to it. I want to definitely see what this thing is all about. And let's check out the condition. The inner sleeve is there, but look at the condition on that. Is this one of those where the album just didn't get played? It's a very good plus on that condition. So let's see what it's worth. There you go, Jerry Rafferty. High value on that is $45. Median value is $5.88. Discogs suggests that I sell it for $35. That seems a little high to me, but a great clean record. I rated it at very good plus. And I think the color on it is great. So Jerry Rafferty, City to City, came out in 1978. Genre was rock, style was pop rock. Jerry Rafferty, yes indeed, he was Scottish and best known for his Baker Street and Right Down the Line, and with the band Steelers Wheel, Stuck in the Middle with You. There you go. So he was a working class bloke from Scotland. And what a great vocal, what a great album. I'm going to play this, and I'll keep it in my collection for a while. All right, here we are, Nick Lowe, Labor of Lust, and this is an LP. And I love this because I had it on cassette. I never actually had the LP, although I might have another copy of it that I picked up within the last year. Same guy owned it, Kraus. And I was just talking over on the sidelines, and someone said, yeah, Nick Lowe. I said, well, I'll take a Nick Lowe. And sometimes these guys go through their stuff, discard it, and if they don't like Nick Lowe and you do, they'll just hand it to you. And sure enough, this guy walked over and handed me Labor of Lust. So it's all in condition, and don't let it fool you. This is a little rough. I mean, someone ate breakfast, spilled their coffee on this thing, but if the other one tells us a story, is that the condition on the inside might be better. So let's take a look at it. So there you go, Nick Lowe, Labor of Lust. And sure enough, I did not have it. And this is a Terre Haute pressing, which jumped right out at me because it has in the dead wax somewhere in here a nice big scratched in T, which means Terre Haute, Indiana, about 2 hours south of where I'm at right now. So it's 1979 release. Pop rock is the genre. Style new wave, power pop, pop rock. So I think we were getting this on the radio more than Elvis Costello, because I remember Cruel to Be Kind being a pretty big radio hit. And American Squirm, the 4th track on side A, that was a big radio hit. B1, Switchboard Susan, that was a pretty big radio hit. And this is Detroit rock radio, which was not really keen to new wave power pop, pop rock. But Nick Lowe seemed to be able to crack that market. And then later on, I had this on cassette. And the opposite side of the cassette was Rock Pile. their album, their debut self-titled album, which is sort of matched up with this one real good because, of course, Nick Lowe was in RockMine with Dave Edmunds. So great album, great pickup. I listed it for sale for $11.49, high value of $14.99, very good plus on the condition. The sleeve condition I gave good plus, cover stained with adhesions. So I let my buyer know that, but I'm going to give it a good listen. I thought I had a copy of it, but I don't. There you go. All right, we've been picking up a lot of these early folk sort of, I would guess they would call him James Taylor type artists. Dan Fogelberg was one of them. And I've already got a copy of this, but this is sort of an iconic early 70s album. The album is called Home Free. It's a gatefold. We're going to look it up and see what kind of value it has and go from there. All right, there you go. Dan Fogelberg, Home Free. And it is a 1972 vinyl LP, Terre Haute pressing. And there was some variations between those three different Terre Haute pressings listed in Discogs. The genre was rock. The style was soft rock. And very cool. Dan Fogelberg, he had a run on the radio for a while there. Songwriter, singer, multi-instrumentalist from Illinois, born in 1951, died in 2007. And the leader of the band was the big one. That was really his big breakthrough, famous hit. But great, nice, pleasant voice. I remember the guitar work on a lot of his cuts. So there you go. They listed it for $11. The average value is $11.50, and I'll probably sell this. Dan Fogelberg on Columbia Records, Home Free. All right, I keep coming back to Lou Rawls, probably because of his voice. Now here he is with strings, and strings they call Lou Rawls and strings. I just like the stripped down live version of Lou Rawls that we heard couple albums ago, because that's his voice just comes through. He doesn't need a lot of strings or instrumentation. Powerful voice. I forget his original group, but I'll let you know in a minute. Let's look it up and see what this baby's worth. Once again, great condition. Got a little cutout hole up there. File under Lou Rawls, male vocal, just in case you weren't sure. Well, Lou Rawls and strings turns out to have the mono version, 1965. And some of this was coming out in mono, and some of it was coming out in stereo. So it was sort of that crossover period, 1963 to 1966. Now, don't let it fool you. Mono can have great sound depending on the equipment. Hi-fi units with 18-inch speakers and big horns. I had one of those in my cottage up in northern Michigan, and I'll tell you what, that thing belted out some sound. But it's in great condition. As a matter of fact, very good plus on the jacket, minus the cutout hole. It's a $13 album. So I'm going to give it a good listen, and I'm probably going to sell it. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to pick up Lou Rawls every chance I could. Or I can. 1965 release, genre jazz, funk / soul blues. Style is rhythm and blues, soul. And of course, Lou Rawls, Louis Allen Rawls, born in 1933 in Chicago, Illinois. And a recording artist. Boy, 75 albums, 3 Grammys. What a great artist he was. And you only had to hear that voice once to know it. And he definitely was known. Early, the Chosen Gospel Singers, all these other groups. He was in Philadelphia International All-Stars, the Browns All-Star Band, the Highway QCs, the Louisiana Gator Boys, the Pilgrim Travelers. I forget which one of those groups he was best known for, but his best quality was his voice. And there you go, Lou Rawls. I'm going to pick him up every time I find him. All right, Nancy Wilson, Just For Now. And look at that album cover. I mean, that is so cool. It's sort of a sultry, seductive glance. Just totally screams 1960s. But a lot of the soul albums just didn't get that good a production. I think this is like really good photography, good design, good layout. It just caught my eye. And I'm like, I got to find out more about this album just based off of the cover. So let's find out some more about it. Well, there you have it. Median value $293, high value is $1166. Now, almost all of them were stereo, but the high fidelity is the dead giveaway, and that's your mono tag. So, but it's also available in stereo. So I have a mono version released in 1967, and was jazz funk slash soul jazz fusion on the style. Now, Nancy Wilson, she was a jazz singer and actress from Ohio, and originally worked as a soloist 5 decades on her career. Worked with Cannonball Adderley, and there you go. Just for that, I'm picking it up. I'm going to give it a listen and probably list it for sale. Did I mention Lou Rawls? Of course I did, and there he is right there, Lou Rawls on this album. And when you hear Lou, you've heard it all, and I agree. What a great voice that guy has. This is a great LP. It came out after his mega hit, and this is on Philadelphia International Records. It came out in 1977. Funk, soul, pop, stage, and screen is the genre. Style is soul, disco, vocal. Lady Love was the big hit. It's the only one I can remember off the top of my head. But Lou was a great performer. It's a $7 record. I listed it for $6.72. Very good. Had a little scratch, a little handling, little fingerprints, but still a good pickup. And whenever you run into this old R&B and soul, you got to pick it up and get it out there and let the next generation get their hands on it, because there's a soul revival going on like I've never seen before. This stuff is selling, and people are listening and buying it. And Smokey's Soul Town on Sirius XM is the place to go. I listen to that channel all day long. It's awesome. So check it out. Check out Lou Rawls, and let's keep going. And Gem of the Week, here we go. 50 years ago, the Edmund Fitzgerald sunk in Lake Superior. And for Michigan, this song encapsulated the whole saga of this huge freighter trying to get to shore in a nasty storm, a gale. And Gordon Lightfoot encapsulated it on this record. Why is it Gem of the Week? Well, not only is it 50 years old, you've probably seen all sorts of memes on this. People have been going crazy posting about this. Grown men crying. It really hits home in an epic tale put to song by Gordon Lightfoot. It came out in 1976 on Reprise Records, vinyl single. This is a Terre Haute pressing. I sold one this week. That's also why it's Gem of the Week. And released in the U.S. It's released in Canada, other countries also. But this one, this particular, House You Live In, is the B-side. But there is a back-to-back series with a different B-side. Matter of fact, that's the one I sold, and it went out the door before I was able to film it. The genre is rock, folk, world, and country, and the style is definitely folk rock. And you can Google this and YouTube this, and you'll find all sorts of guys talking about the making of the record, the sinking of the ship, the whole epic tale. And word has it that Gordon Lightfoot read about it in a magazine article and just wrote it down, and they did it in one take, and that's the record that you're hearing. They just could not top it in the studio. So what a great record by Gordon Lightfoot. This copy says 76 release, and indeed it is. And it was from the album Summertime Dream, and it's probably Gordon's last big mega hit. And I'm sure on Spotify you can see it's probably his #1 stream. Of course, Sundown was always good. Yeah, but Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald is right up there. If you're in Michigan, I call it Michigan's Freebird. Anybody worth their salt. It's an easy song to play. Ask them to play it. And just be ready, because some of the versions can be 8 minutes long. But there you go, Gem of the Week, Gordon Lightfoot, the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. See you next Friday. And remember to check out Discogs, because Detroit Bob's got all his stuff for sale on Discogs, and we're selling LPs now. Great shipping prices. We use medium mail, it gets there fast, and you don't have to worry about paying an exorbitant amount of shipping when you buy from Detroit Bob. Talk to you later.